I do feel like the pay gap would be something that, we could just take a donation around the NBA maybe one night y'all don't go to the casinos.
I have something on this, though, because it pisses me off.
The WNBA pay gap, one of the loudest, most controversial conversations in sports today. Every season, the internet lights up with arguments, memes, and statistics. Some say WNBA players deserve equal pay. Others say it's not that simple. But what's the truth behind this debate?
Because I think for somebody that don't watch WNBA basketball, to have women dunking on other women would definitely bring more excitement to that game and have, those guys that...
Why do WNBA players earn so much less than NBA players even though they train, travel, and play just as hard? In this video, we're breaking down everything: the business side, the numbers, the myths, and the uncomfortable reality no one wants to admit. Because this isn't just about gender, it's about economics, demand, and what fans really value. Let's get into it. The shocking numbers everyone talks about. Let's start with what fuels this entire conversation: the money. The average NBA player earns around $10 million per year. Meanwhile, the average WNBA player makes roughly $120,000 per year, and even the league's biggest stars barely cross $250,000. That's almost a 100x difference, and when you hear that, it sounds outrageous. Same sport, same dedication, so why such a massive gap? This is the moment where social media explodes, people shouting unfair, others replying with simple math. But both sides often ignore what really drives these numbers: revenue. The business behind the game. Here's the part most fans don't see. The NBA is a financial powerhouse. In a single year, it generates over $10 billion in revenue from TV deals, sponsorships, ticket sales, and merchandise. The WNBA, on the other hand, brings in around $200 million. That's just 2% of the NBA's total. Now think about that for a second. If a business makes 50 times more money, it can obviously pay its employees 50 times more. That's not discrimination, that's economics. The harsh truth: player salaries in any professional league are tied to how much money that league actually makes. But here's where it gets interesting: WNBA players aren't asking for the same salary numbers, they're asking for the same percentage of revenue that NBA players get. The real comparison: revenue share. NBA players earn about 50% of league revenue. WNBA players? Only about 20–25%. That's a huge difference. So the argument isn't about why don't they make $10 million, but rather why don't they get the same share of what they help create? And that's a fair question. If you're building the brand, filling seats, doing community outreach, promoting the league, shouldn't you get an equal cut of the pie? Some experts say the WNBA's growth stage makes higher shares risky, while players argue the league has been around since 1996. It's not new anymore. It's time for better deals. This tension is what fuels the ongoing CBA negotiations and all the heated debates online. The hidden economics: viewership, marketing, and demand. Let's face it, sports are entertainment businesses. And in entertainment, attention is currency. The NBA Finals pull around 15 million viewers. The WNBA Finals? Around 1 million. That difference in eyeballs directly affects sponsorship deals, ticket prices, and TV rights. But that doesn't mean people don't care about women's basketball. In fact, the WNBA is growing fast. Attendance, TV ratings, and merch sales have all been climbing in the past few years, especially with breakout stars like Caitlin Clark, Aja Wilson, and Breanna Stewart. Still, the reality is, the money follows attention, and until that gap closes, the pay gap will stay wide too. The marketing problem no one talks about. Here's something people rarely admit: the WNBA doesn't have a marketing problem because of its players. It has one because of how it's promoted. Think about it. How often do you see WNBA highlights on ESPN's main Instagram? How many times have you seen a WNBA player in a national commercial compared to an NBA player? Even when the league produces incredible moments, game winners, trash talk, rivalries, they don't go viral the same way. Not because they're not exciting, but because the machine behind them isn't pushing it enough. If the league and networks invested in hype, storytelling, and rivalries the same way the NBA did decades ago, the audience would grow naturally. People don't just fall in love with a game, they fall in love with the stories behind it. The public perception battle. Let's be honest, part of the problem is how society perceives women's sports. There's still a chunk of fans who say it's slower or it's less entertaining. But when you actually watch full games, you see insane skill, strategy, and fundamentals that often get overshadowed by stereotypes. The truth is, women's basketball isn't about windmill dunks, it's about teamwork, defense, and pure basketball IQ. But because it doesn't fit the flashy highlight reel formula, it gets less respect online. And respect drives ratings. Ratings drive revenue. Revenue drives salaries. It's a chain, and right now, the WNBA is stuck trying to fix every link at once. The overseas factor. Why players leave. Here's another sign the pay gap is real. Most WNBA stars play year-round, spending their off-seasons overseas. In countries like Russia, Turkey, and China, top female players can earn 5 to 10 times more than they make in the WNBA. That's right, some American athletes have to go to another country just to get paid what they're worth. The reason? Those international teams are often backed by billionaires or national sponsors who invest heavily in women's basketball. It's not because they magically make more money, it's because they value it differently. So, while the US leads the conversation on equality, other countries are actually cutting bigger checks. The growth we're seeing right now, despite all the criticism, the WNBA is having its strongest momentum ever. In 2024 and 2025, viewership hit record highs, ticket sales sold out in multiple cities, and social media engagement skyrocketed. The Caitlin Clark effect alone boosted ratings by over 200% in some games. Brands like Nike, Google, and AT&T are signing bigger sponsorships, and streaming platforms are investing in exclusive WNBA content. That's not just hype, it's a signal. The league is finally becoming a serious business. And when the money grows, the salaries will too. The gap won't close overnight, but the direction is finally right. The real problem isn't gender, it's scale. At the end of the day, this isn't a men versus women debate, it's big business versus small business. If you compare McDonald's to a small burger shop, the CEO pay will never match, not because of bias, but because of scale. The same logic applies here. The NBA is a global empire built over 70 years. The WNBA is just starting to mature into its prime. The focus shouldn't be on copying the NBA, it should be on building a unique identity that brings in its own audience. Once that happens, the money will follow naturally. The road ahead. What needs to change? For real progress, 3 things must happen. #, better media coverage. More highlights, more rivalries, more storytelling. #2, corporate investment. Sponsors treating the WNBA as a growth brand, not a charity case. #3, fan support. Fans showing up, streaming, sharing, and standing up for the sport they love. Because no matter what side you're on, growth benefits everyone. More fans mean more money. More money means more opportunity, and more opportunity means a stronger game for future generations. So, what's the truth about the WNBA's pay gap? It's not just sexism, it's not just economics. It's a mix of both, built on decades of imbalance, underpromotion, and undervaluation. But times are changing fast. The players are louder, the fans are more passionate, and the world is finally paying attention. The gap may still be wide, but the momentum is real. And if the WNBA keeps growing at this pace one day soon, that pay gap might just become a history lesson. What do you think? Should WNBA players get a higher revenue share, or should salaries stay tied strictly to profits? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'll be reading every single one. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned because next week we're diving into why Caitlin Clark might be the future of the WNBA.